She was the maid's daughter. He was the son of the people who owned everything. Same house, same age. But their lives were nothing alike. What happened between them tore both families apart. This story starts in a big house in California. The Wellington family lived inside, rich, private, respected. Their domestic staff lived in quarters at the back of the property. That's where Clara stayed. She had worked for the Wellingtons for almost 20 years. Her daughter Maya lived with her. Daniel was the Wellingtons' only child. He had just finished high school and was taking online college classes from home. Maya and Daniel were both 18. They'd lived on the same property all their lives but barely talked. He lived a life of comfort. She lived by rules. Quiet, respectful, and careful not to be noticed. They were never meant to get close. But that changed. Daniel didn't go out much anymore. No more football practice, no classroom friends. He stayed home for school and spent most of his time around the house. Maya was helping her mom more often too. Cleaning the main rooms. Running errands. That's how it started. They crossed paths more. A few quick smiles. Short chats about music. Nothing serious. But it kept happening. They started talking longer. He liked the way she listened. She liked that he wasn't rude or full of himself. No one told them to stop. No one even noticed. Then one evening, in the backyard, under the old cedar tree, they kissed. It wasn't planned. It wasn't loud or dramatic. Just a quiet moment that felt real. After that, they tried to stay careful. They kept it secret, passing notes, meeting in quiet spots, smiling when no one was looking. But in that house, secrets didn't last long. One of the junior maids saw them behind the tool shed. She told Elena. Elena didn't scream or argue. She just called Daniel to the sitting room. She stood by the window when he came in. Calm, cold. "I'm hearing things," she said, "about you and the maid's daughter." Daniel stayed calm. "Her name is Maya. What's going on between you and Maya?" "I love her," he said. Elena turned to face him. "You've lost your mind." "No. I finally found something that feels real." Her voice dropped. "You will end it. That girl is using you. Her mother is using you." "You don't know her," he said. "I don't need to. I know her place. And I know yours." Daniel didn't yell. He didn't beg. He just walked out. The next morning, Elena called Clara to the patio. Clara stood by the table, quiet and tense. Elena didn't waste time. She reminded Clara how long she had worked there, then made it clear. If Maya kept seeing Daniel, Clara would lose her job, her home, and everything that came with it. Clara didn't argue. She just nodded and left. That night, when the house was quiet, Clara sat Maya down in the kitchen. She asked one question. Was Maya seeing Daniel? Maya said yes. Clara took a deep breath and told her something she had never planned to say. Years ago, before Maya was born, Richard, Daniel's father, came home drunk and forced himself on her. She had stayed quiet all these years. Maya was the result of that night. Maya was shocked. She didn't want to believe it. But Clara didn't back down. Maya stood up, angry and hurt. She told her mother she should have said something sooner and walked out of the room in tears. The next morning, she ended things with Daniel. She met him in the backyard and told him it was over. When he asked why, she didn't explain. She just left. Confused and upset, Daniel went to his mother, certain she had caused it. Elena claimed she hadn't done anything and suggested Maya had come to her senses. Daniel didn't believe her. Over the next few days, he tried to reach Maya, waiting outside her quarters, sending notes and messages. She ignored him. Clara eventually asked him to stop. She said Maya needed space. Daniel couldn't make sense of any of it. And then, unexpectedly, his father Richard returned. From the moment he stepped into the house, Richard could feel something was off. The energy had changed. Daniel was withdrawn. Clara wouldn't meet his eyes. Later that day, Richard found Daniel in the garage. Daniel looked up, surprised to see him. He barely responded. Richard asked if he wanted to talk, but Daniel brushed him off and told him to speak to Elena. Richard didn't push, but something felt wrong. That evening, as he walked past Elena's study, he heard her on the phone. She was talking quietly, but Richard caught enough to stop in his tracks. She said she had done what she had to do to protect the family. She also said Richard had never suspected that Daniel wasn't really his. Then she mentioned another man, someone she'd been with who was only after money. Richard stepped in. She froze. He told her to hang up. When he asked her what she had just said, she tried to laugh it off, called it a joke, said he misunderstood. But he didn't back down. He asked again, clearly and firmly, if Daniel was his son. Elena finally admitted the truth. It had happened a long time ago, she said. Richard had been gone a lot. She'd been angry. The man was younger. She never planned for it to go this far. Richard didn't argue. He just left the room. The next morning, Daniel found Clara outside the kitchen. He looked tired and worn down. He told her he knew something wasn't right and begged her to tell him the truth. He said he loved Maya and felt like he deserved to know what was going on. Clara tried to walk away, but he wouldn't let her. Finally, she said it. Maya was his half-sister. Daniel went still. He couldn't speak. From behind the garden wall, Richard, who had stepped outside for air, overheard everything. He walked into view, pale and stunned. He asked Clara to repeat what she said. Clara looked at the ground, then told him the truth. Years ago, when she had just started working there, Richard had come home drunk and forced himself on her. He didn't remember it. She never told anyone. She had raised Maya alone and kept quiet to avoid trouble. Richard said nothing at first. He looked shaken. Daniel looked at them both, his face pale. Then he asked the question out loud. Maya, is your daughter? Richard was blank. Then he added quietly, and you're not mine. Your mother lied. Daniel stepped back. Felt like the ground had fallen out beneath him. That evening, Elena left the house. No goodbye. No scene. Just 2 suitcases and a note on the table. It was addressed to Daniel. In it, she apologized for how things came out. She said she thought she was doing what was best and hoped he would understand one day. A week later, Clara resigned. She and Maya moved out quietly. They found a small apartment across town. Richard offered to help, but Clara turned him down. Maya didn't say much during the move. That fall, she started college. It wasn't far, but it was far enough to feel like a new beginning. Daniel didn't go to college right away. He stayed home and barely left the estate. Most nights, he walked the grounds alone, thinking about everything that had happened. How many lies had been buried, and how deeply he still loved her. Spring came. In a quiet bookstore cafe near Maya's campus, she sat by the window with a book in her hand. The doorbell above the entrance rang, and she looked up. Daniel stood there. He didn't say much, just walked over and said, "Hi." She smiled softly. "Hi." He sat across from her. No pressure, no demands. Just 2 young people, after everything, finally sitting across from each other, free to start fresh.